Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanajana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarvyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vachapatitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Isvaraga Paramaha Krishnaga Satchidananda Vigraga Anadi Radir Govindaga Sarvakarana Karanam. Hare Krishna. By the costless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, we are nicely studying Bhagavad Gita, the King of Knowledge, Raja Vidya. So Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita everything what we need to understand about the purpose of this life, basically. So that's why it is the king of knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is the king of education. So here Krishna is teaching us, giving us all the knowledge about our life. So we need to really understand what this life is. So, but without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we are identifying ourselves with the body, and we think that this life is to basically eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhayo, Maitranam. So that's what is this life. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhayo, Maitranam. They are all Pasubir Naraga. So they are all only for the animalistic activities. Pasubir Naraga means they are all simply animalistic activities. So we are human beings, and if we do the same thing, so that means we are not using this body for the purpose. This body, what we have got, we are stuck in this body. But if we are not using this body to realize ourselves, to liberate ourselves from this material world, so that means we are simply missing the opportunity. We are simply misusing this opportunity. So that way we will be stuck in this material world forever. So we need to understand. We need to understand what is this body, what is the soul, and the relationship between body and soul, and all such things we need to understand very, very clearly. So we need to understand about us very well. In the second chapter itself, Krishna is teaching in those 20 verses from the sloka number 11 to 13, very clearly that we are not the body, we are the soul. But are we living in that consciousness all the time? That is the very important question. We are living all the time, in fact, only thinking that we are this body only. So it's very important question to ask, are we living with the understanding that we are the soul? So we need to do everything that is good for the soul, not simply taking care of the body alone is not going to help us. if the soul is starving, if the soul is suffering, struggling, so what is the use of this body? That means if the mind is not peaceful, then what is the use of money? What is the use of all our name, fame, money, this, that, what we are earning in this material world? If the mind is not peaceful, if the soul is not happy, so then what is the use of all these material things? We can claim that I want this, I want that, this belongs to me, all such things we can claim. But even this body itself doesn't belong to the soul forever. This body itself is changing. Whatever we had youth body, so that is gone. When we get old, it is going away. If somebody is youth now, that's not going to be permanent. When we get old, that is going to become a old body. When we get diseased, that will become a diseased body. So it will be simply a patient when a body gets diseased. And when we die, then that body will be simply become a dead body. So that's what happens to the body. So it's a living body, diseased body, old body, dead body. So these are all the things are happening to the body. But still we think that we are the body. So that is complete nonsense. We should very well understand that we are not the body, we are the soul, and the soul never gets old. So there is nothing like a dead soul or old soul or new soul or diseased soul. Of course, we are diseased because we are having this body. But the soul is always pure. The soul is always the same. The soul neither takes birth, it never dies. Na jayate mriyate va kada sinnayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya. Ajo nityaga sasvato yam purano. So the soul is ajo, nitya, sasvata, purano. So that's what is the soul. So it is unborn, eternal, and ajo, nitya, sasvata, and purano. It is the oldest. So that is the soul. We are not the body, we are the soul. So now we need to realize this fact, this very important fact, and take care of our soul. So that means take care of ourselves. So how to take care of ourselves? That is not to get another body. So that is the way we will take take care of ourselves. So we should aim to not get another temporary miserable body. So that means this birth, old age, disease, and death, we should come out of this cycle. So that is the way we can take care of ourselves. So we simply say that take care of yourself, like that, correct? Take care of yourself. At that time, we need to understand that taking care of ourselves or taking care of yourself, that means we need to literally mean that it is the self, not take care of the body. Body, of course, we need to take care so that we can elevate ourselves to Goloka. For that reason, we need this body. Because we need to control our mind using this body only. Using this body only, we can control our mind. If we don't make use of this body, then our mind will be in the same status. It won't be controlled, it won't be our friend. So, we need to use this body to control our mind. So that way, we are taking care of ourselves. So if we are taking care of ourselves means if we are able to control our mind, if we are able to focus everything on Krishna, so if we are able to fix our mind on Krishna, so that means we are taking care of ourselves. If we are able to give up all attachments to everything in this material world, so that means we are taking care of ourselves. If we are getting attached to material sense objects, so that means we are not taking care of ourselves. So, really, we need to take care of ourselves by making our mind as our best friend. So, Jitatmanaga. So otherwise our eternal enemy is there with us and it is killing us, it is destroying us. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya duspurena analena cha. That's what is happening. So it's covering our knowledge. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina. It is our eternal enemy. Jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya. So its form is kama. Kama rupena kaunteya. Duspurena analayanacha. It burns like fire. Duspurena analayanacha. So now Krishna is teaching us that Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmanaka jaki satrum mahabahu kama rupam durasadam. We have to conquer Jahi, Satru, our enemy. We need to conquer our enemy. Jahi Satru Mahabaho, Kama Rupam, Durasadam. So it has its form is our enemy's form is Kama, Kama Rupam. So that is the form of our enemy, Kama Rupam, and it is Durasadam. It's very difficult to conquer. So we need to do that. We need to conquer our enemy. We need to have this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita only. It is possible. Only with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we can control our mind. Our mind will become our best friend, and then we can conquer our enemy. So that means having this body, we need to gain this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Having this human body, we need to gain Bhagavad Gita knowledge. It is applicable to each and every individual soul. It doesn't mean that we belong to a particular religion. I don't follow Bhagavad Gita. It's not like that. Bhagavad Gita is the song of God. It is for the soul. For each and every individual soul, this knowledge is applicable because everyone has got mind. Everyone has mind. Everyone should make their mind as their best friend. That's very important. If our mind is not our best friend, if our mind is not listening to us, then we are not going to be happy. That's it. Whatever belief we have, whatever faith we have, it doesn't matter. But our mind has to be peaceful. That is very, very important. So, in order to make our mind very peaceful, we need to understand how to control our mind. So, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the first 32 slokas, Krishna is teaching very, very clearly about how to conquer our mind, how to control our restless mind. So, if we control our mind, then our mind will become the best friend. For that reason, we need to make use of this human body to control our mind. This entire life should be used only for that reason. So that means before we lose this body, before we die, we should conquer our mind. We should control our mind and make our mind as our best friend. So then we are different from animals. Then we are making use of this life very, very nicely, correctly. So that means it is taking care of our self. We are really taking care of ourselves. When we are focusing on this Bhagavad Gita, when we follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita, when we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so that way we are able to control our mind. So Krishna is teaching us, Krishna is giving us all the knowledge for us to control our mind. Simply by focusing our mind on Krishna. So that's why Krishna is answering all the questions asked by Arjuna. Arjuna is asking the questions in them. We already studied 4 slokas in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So that is, Arjuna is asking the question to Krishna that Kshetra, there is Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya, everything I want to know. So like that Arjuna is asking the question. So Arjuna asked Krishna that Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnam Evacha Yetadveditum Ichchami Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava. So what is Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jneya? everything. So Arjuna is asking Krishna. Krishna immediately in the next sloka itself explaining that Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Sariram Kaunteya Kshetramiti Abhidiyate Yetadyo Veti Tam Prahuhu Kshetrajna iti Tadvidaga. This body, O son of Kunti, is known as Kshetra. Idam Sariram. This Sarira, this body is known as Kshetra. And anyone who knows this body is the Kshetrajna. So, Etadyo Veti Tam Pragu. Anyone who knows that this body is Kshetra, so he is the Kshetrajna. That's what Krishna is teaching. Of course, we are going to study at length about what is Kshetra, Kshetrajna and all. Even today itself, we will start studying it. Actually, Krishna is going to expand on this. But here in this sloka, he is just explaining that this body is Kshetra and anyone who knows this body is a Kshetrajna. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." That's what Krishna is saying. And in the next sloka, Krishna says that he is the knower of all the bodies. That's what Krishna is teaching in this third sloka. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam mathav mama. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi. You understand that I am also a Kshetrajna. So Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi. Sarva kshetresu bharata. So in all bodies. So I am the knower. I am the Kshetrajna of all kshetras. So Sarva kshetresu. So that means Krishna knows each and every body. Because Krishna is there in each and everyone's heart as the super soul. So kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matham mama. So knowing, having this knowledge about the body and soul, kshetra and kshetrajna, so that is what is called jnanam, yatta jnanam matham mama. So that is what is called knowledge. Knowing about kshetra and kshetrajna is the knowledge. So we need to have this knowledge. We need to know the difference between kshetra, kshetrajna. So we need to know the difference between body and soul. So if you have this knowledge, so then that is called jnanam. So that is the knowledge. So that's what Krishna is teaching. So what Krishna is teaching here, O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So that's what Krishna is doing. So Krishna is also the knower of all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. So now only Krishna is explaining that. I will explain to you briefly about how these changes are happening in our body. Tachetram yachayadriksha yadvikari yathaschayate sachayo yat prabhavascha tatsamasena me shunu. That's what Krishna is teaching. So tatchetram yachayadriksha. So Krishna is teaching that kshetram, tat kshetram, so what it is made up of. So what I will explain to you. That's what changes it will undergo. So how it is produced. So what it is, how it is constituted and what its changes are and how it is produced. Yat prabhavascham. So everything and whence it's produced and everything and what and who that knower of the field of activities is there. Such a yo yat prabhavascha tat samasena meshu. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that the knower of, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. Everything Krishna is going to teach. Of course, in the next few slokas itself, Krishna will teach very clearly about Kshetra, Kshetrajna, all such things. So we finished up to these 4 slokas in the last week, last Sunday when we studied. So now in the next sloka, Krishna is continuing in the 5th sloka. Rishibir bahuda geetam chanto bir vividaihi pratake brahmasutra padaischaiva hetumadbe vinishchitaihi. Rishibir bahuda geetam. So rishis, sages, in many songs, Bahuda Gitam. This is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving us the knowledge. But Rishis in many songs, Bahuda Gitam, Chandobir, Vividaihi Pratak. So with Vedic hymns, Chandobhi and Vividaihi, there is Vedic hymns, Chandobhi, Vividaihi, Brahma Sutra, Pratak, Brahma Sutra, there is the Vedanta. So in all such things, so Brahma Sutra Padais Chaiva, Brahma Sutra Padais. So the aphorisms, Brahma Sutra Padais Chaiva, Hetu Madbir Vinishchitayi. So they have given the cause and the effect. Hetu Madbi. Hetu is the cause and Madbi is effect. Vinishchitayi, certainly. So many rishis in the songs, they have given all such things Krishna is saying. But what Krishna is saying, we are studying from Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is already telling Arjuna that many rishis have already sung, and in the many Gitas, it is already available there about this Kshetra, Kshetrajna and all such things. Now, Krishna is actually in the previous sloka itself, Krishna said that you hear from me. So Krishna is also going to tell us. So that's what is very important. We directly hear from Krishna. This Bhagavad Gita, if you understand, so that means everything. Tat samasena me shrunu. Me shrunu means you hear from me. So that's what Krishna is saying in the 4th sloka. That way we are very fortunate that we are directly learning from Krishna directly. Sakshat Kadayataga Swayam. So Krishna himself directly is teaching, that's what we are learning. So here Krishna is saying that knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities, it is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. So everything is explained. That's what Krishna is teaching. Krishna is saying. So now in the next 2 slokas, Krishna is going to explain about the Kshetra. So the Kshetra we are going to study at length in the next 2 slokas. So in the sloka number 6 and 7, Krishna is explaining that Mahabhutani Akhankaro Buddhi Avyaktamevacha Indriyani Dasekam Cha Panchachendriya Gocharaga Ichadveshaga Sukham Dukkam Sankatas Chetanadriti Yetat Kshetram Samasena Savikaram Mudakritam. Mahabhutani Ahankaro Buddhir Avyaktam Evacha. So Mahabhutani means these 5 great elements. So that is Panjabhutam. That's what is Mahabhutam. That is Bhumir, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kam. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. Earth, Bhumir, Apo, water, earth, water, Bhumir, Apo, Analo, fire, and Bhumir, Apo, Analo, Vayu, air, and then Kam, space. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. So these Panjabhutam, Mahabhutani, then Ahankara, false ego, Ahankara. Then Buddhir Avyaktam Evacha, Buddhir, intelligence. So intelligence, and Avyakta means unmanifested. So unmanifested modes of nature. So that's what Avyaktam, the 3 modes of nature. So Avyaktam Evacha. Then Krishna is teaching, continuing that Indriyani Dasa Ekamcha. So 11, Dasa Ekam means 11. Dasa is 10, Ekam means 1, 10 plus 1, 11. Dasa Ekam, that is Indriyani, senses. So 11 senses. So that includes mind. So in the Krishna is also teaching that Manasasthani Indriyani in the 15th chapter. So there, Sastani Indriyani, Manasastani. So he includes mind there. There explicitly Krishna is using the word mind, Manasastani Indriyani. So that's why here Dasa Ekam. Dasa Ekam means it includes both working senses, 5 working senses, and 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and mind. So that's what Indriyani Dasa Ekam cha. Pancha Chendriya Gocharaga. Then 5 sense objects. So 5 different sense objects. So Mahabhutani, Ahankaro, Buddhir, Avyaktam Evacha, Indriyani, Dasa Ekam cha, Pancha Chendriya Gocharaga. All together, this makes up 24 if we say Avyaktam as just the 3 modes of nature, or 26 if we say that there are 3 modes of material nature. That is mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Because Mahabhutani, that makes 5 great elements. Then Ahankaro, 6th one. Then Buddhir, 7th one. Then Avyaktam, unmanifested modes of nature. So if we say that goodness, passion, and ignorance, so that is 8, 9, 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then Indriyani, Dasa Ekamcha. So that is 11. So 10 plus 11, 21. And then Pancha Chendriya Gocharaga, 5 types of sense objects. So 21 plus 5, 26. So these are all the 26 material elements. If we say that goodness, passion, and ignorance are separate, if they are same, just if we say that the 3 modes of material nature, so then it will be 24. So then from these elements, so this kshetra, this our body is formed. Our body is made up of, Krishna is explaining about kshetra, how kshetra is created, all such things. So our body is made up of this kshetra, these 24 elements. And within this body, the soul is now having icha, dvesha, sukham, dukkam, sangatas, chetana, driti. So all these things are because of it is interactions, the kshetra's interactions. So because of the kshetra, because this body is created and 3 modes of material nature also is a part of kshetra. That's what Krishna is teaching. So that means not just the body, even the 3 modes of material nature also. Now desire, hatred, so icha, dvesha, and then sukham, dukkam, happiness, distress, sangatas, chetana, driti. So that is the aggregate living symptoms and conviction. That is the driti, determination, basically. All these field of activities. These are all kshetra, field of activities in summary. So they are savikaram udakritam. So they are with their interactions. So that's why it's all such things are happening. The soul is inside this body, and we are having hatred, desire, and experiencing happiness, distress, all such things. So that's why Krishna is teaching that the 5 great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. So that's what Krishna is teaching here. So we already understand about the kshetra. So with Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished 3 more slokas in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The next slokas, totally 5 slokas about the jnana. So from the 8th sloka to 12th sloka, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which we will study next week, next Sunday. So totally 5 slokas, 2 slokas about the kshetrajna, and then another 5 slokas Krishna is explaining what is jnana. So now let us chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and focus our mind on the transcendental sound vibration. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namini. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Umajnanaktimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Rama Rama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Timur Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees. I kindly request the devotees to use the Zoom raise hand feature to ask your questions to Guruji. Hina Mataji says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram, Ram
Hare,
Ram,
Ram
Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guruji, for today's class.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Okay, Guruji, I don't see any raise hand so far. So thank you, Guruji,
Okay.
for today's class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Ravin Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Ravindra,
Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Guruji, wonderful class, Guruji. No question, Guruji. Thank you. And I believe you are outside of your place. So
Yes,
you are.
Prabhu, I'm not able to. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I'm always.
So
That's correct, Prabhu. That's right.
again, it's a reminder, Guruji, that you are setting an example that how we should be constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, remembering Krishna all the time. Mamas,
Yes.
Anusmaran. So
Yeah.
all the time. So this is a wonderful example, Guruji, and you are setting an example. Thank you for that, and thank you for all your time and effort that you are putting to teach us and practice us, giving us a practical example, Guruji. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Guruji. No
Yes.
question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Lord devotee.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Ravindra Goyal, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Guruji, this is a very important verse that you have taught today. I need to discuss something in detail. Like you use the word Chetana. Chetana is translated as symptoms of life, basically.
Yeah.
So
Consciousness.
this Chetana. Yes.
It's coming from Chitta,
Yes.
all those things. Cheta.
My question is, this Chetana is basically, is it different in different living entities, or is it the same thing like the soul? Or this? I
It
got
is the
some.
same thing. It is the same thing, but depending upon the body only, we can actually act. That is the problem because of the type of brain what we have. So only to that extent we can actually think. So basically gaining knowledge, acquiring knowledge, understanding all those things. So that is not same for every body, is correct? So that way, the living force, the consciousness, everything we are experiencing using our material senses, correct? That is the main thing. So we are perceiving this world with our material senses only. We are so sense perception. So that way, it is because of the our body limited senses. So we can only express so much. So that way, it is only different from each and every body. Yes, ma'am.
So actually, the level of consciousness or the Chetana is different in different types of bodies, in
That is
different
correct.
stages, we can say. And that is again to be decided by the Avyakta, three modes of material nature that you have told. That is the 24th
Yes, ma'am.
element, Avyakta element. So
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
depending upon the accumulated past experiences, the body is obtained, and the consciousness is when it interacts with the rest of the other elements, like you have told, vikaras, ichha, dvesh, etc. Then the symptoms that the body gives to the external world, they are different. Like the way we speak,
Yes,
the way we act, the way we react, all these things are different depending upon the state of Chetna or consciousness.
that is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it is very complex kind of interaction that you have told between the vikaras, and I think there is a word for that in that verse. Can we see that verse, Guruji, once again on the screen? That
Yes, ma'am. I'm sharing. Once you can provide, go to the previous. Yes, Prabhu.
Guruji, yes. This Ichha Desh, Sukham Dukham, Sanghate. Sanghate, when the Sanghate has been translated as the aggregate.
Aggregate.
There is some word interactions, convection fields of activities with interaction, savikaras, savikaram. Savikaram means
Yes,
interaction.
savikar.
What
Interactions. Yes, with
are these interactions that are they going to affect the state of our chetna? That is my doubt actually. What is this
No,
vikara?
these are all the interactions of this kshetra. Kshetra. So that's why in the translation, kshetra. Krishna also uses this word vikara in the previous sloka also. In the sloka number 4 also Krishna used this, correct? So in the sloka number 4, Krishna said that I will explain to you what this vikara, what these changes are. So changes. So yat vikari yataschayate. Yat vikari. So that's why what are all the changes. So that's why Krishna is concluding that these are all the vikaras. So these are all the changes. So that's why we are all experiencing with our body all these things, desire, hatred. This also Krishna is also in the 10th chapter, sloka number 4, 5, and all. Also Krishna is saying, teaching us the same thing. All these things are coming from me only. That's what Krishna says. So Ichadvesa, so everything Krishna is saying that they're all, everything is coming from me only. That's what he says. So in the sloka number 4 and 5, like buddhi, buddhirjnanam asammogaga, kshama satyam damasamaga, sukham dukkam bhava bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha ahimsa samata tustis tapodanam yaso yasaga bhavanti bhava bhutana matta eva pratakvadaga. So these are all the bhava. These are all our various natures. So that's what it is, matta eva pratakvadaga. So that's why here Krishna in the 13th chapter saying that these are all the savikaraga. So there is the it changes. It changes because of this this body we are experiencing.
Vikara has been translated as changes in the previous.
That is correct.
So,
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
so because of these ichha, dvesh, all these things, we find changes in our chetna, in our level of chetna, you can say.
That's correct. Everything we are, yes, Prabhu.
So our state of consciousness gets changes because of our interaction with the
interactions with this, all this kshetra.
Okay,
all
and
these things.
this all kshetra that we are talking about, that is within this body, and it doesn't have anything to do right now with the rest of the materialistic world.
That is correct. It is all within our body.
This is within our body. Okay.
Mm.
How do we think and how do we act? That is all decided by these interactions.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Right, Vijay. Thank you very
All
much.
these things.
It is very clear now, and it is very scientific also. Actually, it's too deep.
Very scientific. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Vijay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Chitrita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Guruji, thank you for a wonderful class, and I'm very grateful to Ravindra Goel Prabhu for asking this question,
Yes.
because yes, this has also been kind of on my mind about the level
Yes.
of consciousness one has when we are doing even our duty, for example.
Yes.
You know, why do we say have to come down sometimes and ask people that have you got no conscience? This is why do we ask this question? That you know, we immediately have some fixed ideas about how one should behave. You know, be kind, be grateful, all the good qualities. But I understand. I'm trying to understand, in fact, Guruji. So thank you so much, Ravindra Guruji, and thank you so much, Guruji, for this class. Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. SK Garg Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hina Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guruji, for today's class. Also,
Yes,
yesterday I was not able to talk to you. I'm
Yes,
out from
Mataji.
Dallas for 2 days.
Okay,
And
okay, Mataji.
yeah,
It's very
and
nice.
today
Still, you are able to join. That's very nice, yes, Mataji.
yeah, I was traveling, but I switch on the phone and thought at least I can
Yes,
see you. If not, the voice will go.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
Mataji. So it's
thank you.
Krishna's mercy we are
Yeah, it's
continuing. Thank you,
Krishna's.
Mataji.
Today I went to one temple also where I'm staying. So it was very nice temple, Krishna's temple.
Very nice.
Yeah,
That's
thank
very
you so
nice,
much.
Mataji. It's all. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna,
it's all
Mataji.
your guidance, Guruji, that we are in this line. If we don't chant, we feel bad. If any day it happens like that, or if we don't offer food, means I'm out, so I'm not able like the
Yeah.
way I do in home. But
Do it at home, yes,
it's,
yes.
yeah, but it's all from your guidance only. I develop these good habits in me.
Yes, Mataji. Yes. Yeah, it will become a part of our life. Every time, every
Yeah,
meal we
without,
want to offer to Krishna.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Hare
Guru.
Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Satyen, Hare Krishna, Chandrakanta Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. I don't have any
Hare
question.
Krishna.
Thank you very much, Guruji, for keeping us in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
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 Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna to everyone.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Sumati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
for the wonderful class, Guruji. And thank you for going always the extra mile to be with us, whatever
Yes,
happens. Really, we are
yes,
indebted to you for that, Guruji. And your
yes, Mataji. It's Krishna's mercy only, Mataji.
yes,
We are not.
Guruji. Exactly, Guruji. That, as you said, everything that happens in our body itself is Krishna's mercy. What happens in our mind and what happens
Exactly.
in
Yes.
our body. Yeah. So thanks to
This
Aarti
Bhagavad
Gauri.
Gita. Yes.
Yes, Guruji. Go on, Guruji.
No, no, this Bhagavad Gita is everything for us. That's it, Mataji.
Yes. And thanks for the clarifications also that you have given now.
Yes, yes.
And thank you once again, Guruji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Satyendra Singh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji, Pranam.
Pranam Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful session today, sir. Today you
Yes.
have reminded us the concept of body and soul. Who am I? And also Kshetragya again repeated. Beautiful, beautiful learning from you. When Krishna says that I am Kshetragya of all the words, and really, daily we are you are enriching us the divine knowledge, and for that, no words can uh, are sufficient to in praise of yours. Really, you are doing wonderful
Yes,
work, and despite of all arts and all these things, miseries,
yes,
and you are motivating us that we should remain connected to Krishna. That is wonderful experience.
yes,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Suresh Tabi Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Today, very nice class, Guruji. Especially I like that new definition of the take care.
Yeah, taking care of ourselves. Yes, yes. Yes,
That is a good definition, Guruji. Controlling the mind, no, and using the body to control the mind.
yes, yes. That is the thing.
Yeah,
That's how we need to use our body, not for getting ourselves even more entangled.
correct. It has to be used for this purpose actually, to
Exactly.
getting ourselves free from the
Yeah.
material aspect. Very nice, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Today's class was very good, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Escape God,
Krishna, Guruji.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Guruji. Thank you
Hare
very much,
Krishna.
Guruji. I'm sorry I took it late slightly. Guruji, very nice explanation of 24 elements and its detailing. In fact, I could not comprehend it very comprehensively, but hope to go through this again and again. And maybe
Yes,
if there
Prabhu.
is any doubt, I will ask you maybe later.
Yes.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Manoranjan Sahib, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna,
Very
Prabhu.
wonderful session, really. The Ketragya, and how different we are composed of all these 24 or 26 elements as you discussed in this sloka. And really, we have to come to go beyond that sukha, dukha, neither sukha, that kind of state of mind can be achieved through only Gita. When you are in the class, there is no sukha or dukha. The pleasure or joy or happiness or sorrow, these things won't come to us. We should not be perturbed by these things. Dark and light like this and jnana, and that came only Gita jnana will take them to different world.
Yes.
It won't make the distinction. So Guru is the only the light. He can help us, and you regularly inject us in your mind to get released from these negative qualities and to rather samatpang, like yoga. It is a yoga. It's just like a union with mind, the jivatma, paramatma. There is a connection, interlinked.
Yes.
So, a wonderful session.
Yes.
So I had a class at 9, but I could not like to miss this class. Your class is very important than other classes.
Yes, yes,
that is also to enhance my knowledge in Sanskrit. So really,
Yes,
I want to also develop that Sanskrit language in Sundays only, to Sanskrit discussions about hour, like 10 to 9 to 10 like this. But I could not like to miss this class. My Guruji, I have to leave. These other classes are physical classes. It is not
Very
physical.
nice, sir.
It is beyond.
Yes,
There is a metaphysical class. It touches our heart. There's a body language to develop our knowledge. That knowledge can be achieved through practice. We don't know also Sanskrit, but you are well versed in Sanskrit. All the slokas, you have good memory. Although I know Sanskrit, but I forget these things. So this is a mechanical work. So if you have any knowledge, you don't have. You have this that kind of sadhana, surrender to Lord Krishna, that knowledge will come to you. So thank you, Guruji. Very wonderful session. Really, I am very indebted and totally grateful to you. And that is not, grateful is not much enough or anything, whatever you speak of Guruji, it is insufficient. So Guruji will help us. So only, even Lord Krishna is himself also a Guru. So Guru is something different, more than a God and everything, I think. Even Lord Krishna itself is Guru. So why you are thinking that other things? So Guruji is not an easy task. So you, Guruji, you change us, you transform into right being, divine being. So it's not an easy task to be get released. Daily you are taking all pain, labor for us to go to Goloka, all kind of efforts, endeavors from childhood till now you are struggling with my devotees. Should we get released from this Naradham and that Swargadham, Haridham? They should transfer to promotion, not demotion. You are trying us, taking us into that world. So you take all things, take us without any hesitations. That is, the Guru has lights himself. He forgets his own self and everything. So thank you, Guruji. Pranam, Guruji. Satata naman, naman, naman.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Ajay Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanyavad Pranam. All Krishna.
Dhanyavad Pranams Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. I got noted like one point. Desire is the eternal enemy. Krishna mentions.
Yeah.
And I think Gautam Buddha also mentions the same thing. Desire is the root cause of misery. Yeah, so this desire, unless until we desire for Krishna, it's not easy to give up desires.
That is correct. Kama. Kama is, if you don't have prema, Krishna prema, then there is kama, then we are in trouble. It is our eternal enemy. It burns like fire.
Yeah, yeah. And also another Prabhuji talked about the consciousness, right? Like I remembered Prabhupada mentioned like over a period of time, like many lifetimes with the association of matter, the consciousness got polluted. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will purify that contamination.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That is Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Brinda Jai Singh Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class. So, Guruji, you said about the soul, that we need to take care of the soul also, besides taking care of the body and the mind. But yes, Guruji. So, as you said, the soul is actually pure, very pure. And
yes.
It is eternal. It is eternal and it is pure.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
many a times in this, like we say, Sachidanand and Sachidanand Swarup, and we call it the pure state. So, Guruji, it is there that we are talking of the soul, soul, soul all the time. But actually, that is our daily life to purify our soul and reach the elevated consciousness.
Yes, ma'am.
So all the time we have to think of the soul, or we must think all the time of Krishna, the super soul.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I want to know that many a times everybody talks of Atma, main Atma hu, main Shuddh hu, main Atma hu, and they just remember the soul part of it. That we should not forget that we are the soul. But then in that process, how do we remember the soul, or we remember the Paramatma soul?
We just have to remember Krishna. That's it. That's what in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is teaching us there. Sarvesu kalesu ma manasmarat vidyacha. So if you remember Krishna, that means we are doing good thing for ourselves. If you forget Krishna, then we are ourselves doing bad things for ourselves. That's it. Remembering Krishna or not, that's what is very important.
Yes. So we don't have to take so much into consideration ki main Atma hu, like
no. If that's why, if you remember Krishna, then that means you are following Bhagavad Gita. So that means you are doing what Krishna is teaching us in this Bhagavad Gita. That means we are doing what is good for ourselves, the soul. So remembering Krishna is good for the soul. Connecting with Krishna, remembering Krishna is good for, like in today's lecture, we are talking about we need to take care of ourselves. So we need to take care of ourselves means we need to control our mind by remembering Krishna. So then we are doing it good for ourselves. Otherwise, if we forget about Krishna, if we focus on material sense objects, so then we are getting ourselves more entangled in this material world.
Yes, the clarity is there. So we don't have to really worry so much about कि मैं आत्मा हूँ. We have to
No,
think
we
of
have to just
Atma as
remember
a
Krishna.
Parma.
That's it. Yeah, remember
Yes.
Krishna and follow Bhagavad Gita. That's it.
Yes, Guruji. Things are clear now. Thank you so much, Guruji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna. Hare Ram. Mahendra Shukla Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण गुरु जी
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
दंडवत प्रणाम हरे कृष्णा
Dhanwad.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna.
कृष्णा
Krishna
हरे हरे
Krishna. Hare
हरे राम
Hare
राम
Ram. Hare
राम
Ram.
राम
Rama Rama. Hare.
थैंक यू गुरु जी टुडे आई एम इन काशी बनारस
Oh, very nice, Prabhu. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
night I will go to Kanpur. So yesterday I can't join because I am a Rudrabhishek. So, sorry,
What,
yesterday
Prabhu?
yesterday I was taking Rudrabhishek.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Prabhu. Very nice, Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you.
Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Ji,
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna
Hare
Krishna. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare
Ram. Hare. Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Sunil Shivas Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
दंडवत प्रणाम गुरु जी दंडवत प्रणाम गुरु
Dhanwad
जी
pranams, Prabhu. Hare
and I shifted my family to my hometown Guruji and tomorrow 1 month will complete Guruji.
Oh, okay. So you are only working in your office, Prabhu. Your family is
Yes.
in your home.
And both time I prepared prasada for Krishna. Chanting, my chanting is the daily morning Guruji, about 16 round, maybe 18 or 19 Guruji.
Very nice. Excellent, Prabhu. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And listening Kirtana Prabhupada and reading book Guruji. That's like my life is now going on.
It's fully Krishna conscious. Very nice,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
Guruji, and I don't want to beg Guruji.
Yes, Prabhu. Krishna's mercy is there, Prabhu. Krishna's mercy everything is there.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Palaniyappan, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Ram Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Guruji. I've been reading through this text 7 on and on and on. That's sufficient, Guruji. It has always been my wish. I wanted to have a lab, like digital lab, HPE lab. Now, Lord Krishna has answered, this is the greatest lab, Guruji, the field, knowing the field. That's it, Guruji.
Yes.
There is nothing to learn. There is no knowledge at all. Now I understand how these corporate gurus are cheating the world, sitting and taking subject. But this is just a very simple, Guruji. This alone, all these guys all become the corporate Swamijis and all manipulating.
They are not cheating the well, they are cheating themselves.
Yeah. No, there are a lot of followers also, Guruji, and half-baked people like these Bollywood groups and other groups. They go and portray them as a great gurus, as if the world will change by hearing them. Lord Krishna alone is the only Guru, Guruji, Supreme Guru. The rest all, they should humble enough. Whatever they talk, right? First thing they should say, Pranam to Lord Krishna. I am a Krishna devotee. I am only getting this knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and talking to you. That should be a first disclaimer and a statement, Guruji. Excellent, Guruji. This alone, the one sloga, especially the text 6 and 7, that takes, one should know the field, my body. Then only I am qualified to talk anything about in the world. And this, I've read this Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, read and I listened from many people, Guruji. Nowhere you can find a summary, Guruji. It's such a beautiful summary, Guruji. Clearly explained and how interaction. everything, Guruji. Excellent, Guruji. This one page alone should be printed out, proliferated, and keep educating. This is the basic fundamental truth one should understand, Guruji. How I attain the body, how I should maintain in the name of Krishna. You cautioned me many times, Guruji, when I was going and all, right? The moment we take Krishna out of anything, that is not a knowledge at all, Guruji. That's what happening in the outside world. So here, very closely, Krishna is the mind. He is the mind within, Guruji. Excellent, Guruji. Excellent, Guruji. This alone is sufficient, Guruji. We can take a class for more than a month, Guruji. Thank you very much, Guruji. Hare Krishna, Guruji. Thank you for clearing my ignorance, Guruji. Hare Krishna to all. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Palaniappan Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. I think today's sloka as well as the class, what you have explained is very, very interesting. And I will say the sloka specifically, you have explained about material elements, 26 material elements.
Yeah.
And because of 26 material elements, what type of activities we are taking is again explained in detail by Krishna. That is what we experience as connection and happiness as well as desires, all the things you have explained. And by knowing these 26 material elements and because of that, what experience we are getting is really very difficult. It shows that it is better just to do what you said, pray Krishna all the time, because life is so serious when you go to material world. That sloka itself is explaining so many things we have to handle. These 26 material elements bring out so many unwanted things. Only happiness, leaving that all other are unwanted things. So when we experience that, how to come out of it once we start. So that is a big question mark. What I felt when I heard this sloka, because the body is anyway getting diseased and getting old and old. Even though we want to keep the mind proper through body, it's again getting old and old. So that's another problem. So better to keep totally Krishna conscious all the time rather than thinking all these things. Was my the final thinking of mine. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Mani Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Today I came, yesterday I came in Hosur, in our community, we are conducting Radha Krishna marriage. It's almost like a marriage. It's a 2-day, 3-day function. Still, it is run by all Mataji. Even all singing, everything is.
I think you got muted, Prabhu. 1 second, I am unmuting again. Hare Krishna,
whatever Ram Prabhu and Palaniappan Prabhu has expressed, the simple thing is, I will give a very practical example in a scientific way. See, our overall consciousness is the CPU. The remote control is with Krishna. He is simply saying, I am the remote control. Whatever you do, whatever you act upon, it is immaterial. Ultimately, I am the remote control. So, if you obey the remote control, your life will be very easy. Our birth also is taken for certain objective only. Simple. So, in the Maya, we are going here, there, we are wasting our time. Ultimately, we have to, immerse ourselves with the ocean. That ocean is nothing but Krishna. So it ultimately it
Yes,
results
bro.
into that only, Guruji.
Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Bhagavad Gita
So
only,
it's a wonderful
as we
class,
discussed
and I
yesterday.
think every day we are experiencing a new knowledge and intelligence. And with today's class, whatever the slogan, it 100% it says that remote control is Krishna, nobody else. All
Yes, bro.
buttons are with him only.
Yes, bro. It's
So
all
it's
Krishna's mercy.
fantastic.
We
If you
just have
try,
to follow
if
what.
you give me some kind of explanation, I'll be happy, Guruji.
Yes, Prabhu. Krishna is teaching. Bhagavad Gita is everything. That's it. But we have our free will. If we misuse our free will, we'll struggle and suffer in this material world. If we properly use it, if we submit our free will to Krishna, so then we will be freed from this. Well, so that's what you mean by remote control. So
Yeah.
if we
See,
are,
it looks like
we are not
we are
listening
all
to
like a
Krishna.
computer peripherals. That peripherals, it may think that the whole computer is running through them. Ultimately, it is not running through them. It is running through the different kind of CPU. That CPU is controlled by Krishna, ultimately.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yes,
Hare Krishna, Hare
thank you.
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Ram, Ram
Yeah,
Ram,
now
Hare.
Muhurtam has happened. Krishna is bonding with Radha now. In the next 20 minutes, the Krishna Kalyanam is happening.
Very
So
nice.
it is like all rituals are followed. Now Krishna is marrying Radha. Rukmani Kalyanam agide already. It's already over.
Okay.
Now today is the Muhurtam and the marriage. So I'm enjoying this presence with
Very
Krishna.
nice, Prabhu. Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Kadiravan, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Guruji, today's class is very wonderful class, Guruji. Krishna's giving us a lot of positive energies daily based through you. You are great, Guruji. Great. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you for that, please.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Guruji. Yes, Guruji. Hare Krishna, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll again continue our Bhagavad Gita on Tuesday morning India time. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.